What's up, everyone? Welcome to the BG Outdoors Racing Show. This is going to be a fan's perspective of all things NASCAR. It's going to be a little bit irreverent, a little bit off script, but hopefully it's fun and hopefully you all will enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Brandon George. Today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the 2024 NASCAR season, the preview episode, episode 1. So, hey, let's get into it. Alright guys, so as I said in the opener, we're going to be previewing the 2024 NASCAR season today. We're also going to have a little bit of talk about the first race, the Busch Clash at the Colesium. Just previewing that non-points race, just race to get the season started. So without further ado, I have my handy dandy show notes here, so forgive me if I'm not always looking at the camera, but we'll get into the preseason, the preview, preseason preview. So first thing to talk about, we got to talk about driver movement, who it will be driving where, who isn't driving, all that good stuff. First thing we have is Kevin Harvick retired out of the Stewart-Haas Racing number 4. He'll be replaced by Josh Berry. Josh Berry's coming over from Junior Motorsports, making his first full-time season in the Cup Series. Also, Justin Haley will be going from Colleague Racing to Rick Ware Racing, and Daniel Hemrick will be in the number 31 Colleague car. We have John Hunter Nemechek will be in the number 42 Legacy Motor Club car, and front row motorsports driver lineup has been set. Michael McDowell will be in the number 34 and Todd Gilliland in the 38. Just waiting for the boys. AJ Allmendinger will be going from full-time Cup racing back to a full-time Xfinity schedule with some part-time Cup dates. And Carson Hocevar replacing Ty Dillon at Spire Motorsports in number 77. Could have told you this was going to happen. Ty Dillon, for whatever reason, either hasn't been in the best cars his Cup career or isn't that good. You tell me. I have an opinion. I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy. I don't know him personally. But I think he's on his last leg, personally. Some more SHR Stewart-Haas Racing news. Eric Almirola has retired from full-time competition, and Noah Gragson will be replacing him in the 10 car. If you guys were following along last year, Gragson was driving for Legacy Motor Club last year. That was his first full-time Cup ride. He also came over from Junior Motorsports from the Xfinity Series. He got in some trouble for some tweets. I don't recall exactly how that went, but he was let go early. He was suspended by NASCAR, let go from Legacy early, so now he's getting another shot in the Cup Series. Might actually be an upgrade for him. Driving Stewart-Haas stuff, they haven't been fast the last couple years. The first 4, 5 years of their existence, they were fast. Harvick won a title in the Stewart-Haas stuff, and he was fast there his whole career. But the last few years, there's the other 2 or 3 Stewart-Haas cars, they just haven't been fast. And one more note on driver movement: Kaz Grala will be running 25 races for Rick Ware in the number 15. So that's that. as far as I could find, and as far as I know, all of that stuff came directly off of NASCAR.com. So this isn't just stuff I'm pulling out of thin air, just tweets or anything like that. This was all off of NASCAR.com. One thing I should say, I'm going to try to verify every bit of information that I can, provide you with a source for it. So if you want to question me on it, you can go look it up yourself. So don't come at me, bro. So let's see, what do we got next? We got some news. NASCAR is going to implement a new qualifying format, except for Daytona. Field's going to still be split into two groups, A group, B group. Fastest 5 from each group are going to move on to a final round to determine the top 10. This is where things changed up a little bit from last year. Forgive me, I wasn't paying attention as well to NASCAR the past couple years. We're going to get better about that this year so I can bring you to the show. This is where it changes. From 6 on back in Group A is going to determine the outside row positions 11 through 40. 6 on down in Group B is going to determine the inside row from 11 to 40. Should, from what I understand, makes it a little less convoluted, not so confusing for people to follow, which is good because the point system is already screwed up enough and hard enough for people to follow. NASCAR has implemented a towing system for the new car, for when a car spins out with flat tires and can't get back to pit road. They're going to tow it with this car dolly that they've figured out would keep from destroying the underbody of these new cars, so that they could be able to continue. Rain tires. NASCAR is going to continue to use rain tires at road courses and ovals 1 mile or shorter, except for Bristol and Dover. Lights, wipers, rear flaps only required at road courses. Grass at Daytona. For years, we have known that grass in racetracks, especially big places like Talladega and Daytona, has caused cars to flip, caused a lot of damage, a lot of injuries. So finally, after I believe it was Ryan Preece last year, got in a nasty wreck on the back straightaway in I believe it was the 500. It might have been, I'm not sure, I don't think it was the summer race. I'm pretty sure it was the 500. They removed a large portion of the grass on the backstretch at Daytona. After the 500, they're going to remove the remainder of the grass. It's all going to be paved. What does that mean? Look for something nasty in that spot where there's still grass. This isn't NASCAR's fault. It's just like karma or coincidence or something. When they only go halfway with something, something happens in the spot that they didn't make the repair in. Just seems to always happen that way. That being said, there's curbing in the bus stop chicane at Watkins Glen. They're going to be removing this curbing, adding different curbing to eliminate the damage to the underbodies of the race car. Basically, just reactions to the new, I think it's Gen 7 car that they have now. Just a few more notes from around the sport. There's going to be limits on the Xfinity backup cars to reduce the cost for owners, limits on the numbers, and the decaling of those race cars. From what I understand, and this part don't quote me on, this was just a rumor that I heard, that the backup cars for the Xfinity Series will no longer be wrapped. I don't know that for sure. Check me on that one. Let me know in the comments if that indeed is true. The Cup Series will now be allowed to have LED signage on their pit boxes for additional sponsor placement. Xfinity and Truck Series are reducing the size of their fuel can from 11 gallons to 9 gallons. There is an updated muffler configuration being run at the Clash and Chicago Street Course, and the stage brakes are back at the road courses. So, from what I understand and what I know, we are all caught up on the road courses. So, with that being said, we are going to move into our preview of the Busch Clash. This year, the Busch Clash will be Sunday, February 4th. That's this coming up Sunday. We're dropping this on Wednesday, so you have some time to tune into this race. Clash will be start at 7 Eastern on Fox, Big Fox. Very important there, Big Fox. Everybody should be able to get it. So they've been running the Busch Clash at the Colesium now. This will be the third season. Started in 22. I believe I may have missed a winner there. Did I miss a winner? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, Logano won in 2022. Truex won in 23. This year's format, I think, is a much better format than we've had in years past. It's more simple and more ties back to the short track racing roots. There's going to be 4 25-lap heat races. Top 5 from each heat will be locked into the feature. After those 4 heat races, there's going to be a 75-lap last chance qualifier. The top 2 from the last chance qualifier will also get locked in to the feature, which is 150-lap feature. So 5 times 4 is 20 from the heat races, plus 2 from the last chance qualifier. We're going to have a 22-car, 150-lap feature. I think that's pretty important. 22 cars on, I'm not even sure if that's a quarter mile. It might be a 5th mile, something like that. I'm not sure. Very small racetrack. Still 22 cars in that small of a space. We've seen it in years past. I mean, passing's hard. You're using a bumper to pass. It is what it is. I'm a traditionalist. I prefer them back at Daytona for the Clash, but it's not up to me. Apparently, it's not up to the fans at all. But hey, as fans, we just got to keep telling NASCAR what we want. Put stuff out there like this, Twitter, all that X, all that stuff. So, yeah, we're going to be at the Colesium, and that's what we have to do. So, anyway, beyond that, we're going to get to the picks. This year, I'm going with Kyle Busch in the Richard Childress Racing number 8 car to win this race, and my dark horse is going to be Chris Buescher. Kyle Busch, I mean, you can't count Kyle Busch out anywhere, really. I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, he's one of the best racers of my time that I can remember. Pains me to say that. I'm not a fan of Kyle Busch. Never really have been. I like him better now that he's racing, for Richard Childress, but still not a huge fan. But Kyle was competitive the last 2 years at the Clash. I expect him to be competitive again, and as long as he doesn't get caught up in something or somebody dump him or something like that, I can see Kyle contending for a win. Chose Buescher as my dark horse because Roush Fenway, I guess it's Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing now. We'll call it RFK to make it easy. RFK's been improving year after year after year. I think Keselowski's over there doing a lot of good things for the company, bringing new ideas, really getting that organization back on track. It's funny, it wasn't that long ago that RFK, which was, I guess, was just Roush Racing back then, was like a 5-car cup team and had 3 or 4 Xfinity cars, a couple truck teams. I mean, they were huge. And then just, 3-4 years ago, they were down to like 2 cup cars. And that's it. No Xfinity program, no nothing like that. But as I said, I think Keselowski's bringing that program back, and I would look for Chris Buescher to make some noise here at the Clash. Maybe even win it. He had a couple wins last season. I wouldn't see why they don't continue to build on that success this year. So, with all that being said, we're going to wrap this thing up for this week. Remember, the Busch Clash at the Colesium, Sunday, February 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox, the Big Fox Network. Make sure you tune in. Let's watch this race. Let's get 2024 kicked off in a big way. We're going to be back every week prior to the race. The upcoming week's race, we're going to talk about what happened the week before and what to expect for the next race. We'll be back before the duels. So, before the duels, before the Daytona 500, we'll be back in business. We'll be there to talk about all things that happened at the Coliseum and preview everything that's coming up for the duels and the Daytona 500. So, thank you guys for watching. Hit me up on X at BGeorge Outdoors down below, and we'll see you next week.